So I thought I'd show you how I am cutting through this ICF block to recess the Romex and attach my boxes. So I'm using these standard little new work boxes that I'm removing the nail from, and these are the right depth for 1/2 inch drywall when they go up against the concrete. So this is a, 18 cubic inch standard little single gang box, and that is the right depth for this ICF block. So I just removed the nails off of it, and then it's going to get some tap cons that go back into the concrete. Now you see I've routed, or I've drawn a line on here where the height of the electrical wire is going to go. Now these blocks have an unusual feature on them that I don't know if it's made to be there or what. Can't really see it here, but they've got a little line going all the way down the middle of the block, or right at 24 inches, which is typically where I route my wires, 8 inches above my boxes, which are at 16. So where the blocks meet is 16 inches, and that's where I have the height of the outlet coming up to, is to that 16 inches. So that gives me a nice reference for the height of my box. I don't have to do anything, I just go to the top of the first block. And then typically my electrical line goes 8 inches above that, and I route, and that's where I put my line. Now the problem is here, I've got windows at that height, so I can't do that. I need to stay away from the base of the buck far enough so that my wood trim that goes around the window won't be hitting the electrical line. Can't go underneath it really, because it's the same problem from the bottom. So my electrical lines are a little closer than I normally do them to the box, but that's fine. So how I'm going through the foam is I'm using basically 3 tools. I'm using this grinder here, this cordless grinder, with a Lancelot chainsaw disc blade attachment, whatever you want to call it, that cuts through the studs, the plastic studs. It chews through them really fast, and so I just follow my line and I just plunge it in, cut through them, and keep going. And it's the right width for one 12-2 Romex wire to fit. So it's perfect for that. Makes a nice clean cut very quickly, but as you can see, it's very messy. It does get covered in the foam chunks. Then the other thing that I use is this little trim router with a drill bit. This is a titanium blade, but it doesn't really matter, with a 1/4 inch drill bit in it. So that fits the chuck of any kind of standard 1/4 inch router. And that I set to about 2 inch depth. Now the reason why I'm using a drill bit instead of a standard router bit is because a router bit typically does not have the length needed to cut through the foam. I don't have a hot knife, and I'm not going to be able to find one around here because this type of construction is not usual. So yes, this is messy, but this is using tools that I already have, and it works pretty nicely. Now the other tool I use is the oscillating saw, which gets me into places, if I need to go back and fix something, that's pretty easy to cut through, especially if I have, not really right here, but in other places where I have one of these bucks and it's like right where my wire is making a radius turn. Safer than trying to use that grinder with the chainsaw attachment. I just use the oscillating saw to cut the corner, and it cuts through these little blocks pretty quickly. Alright, so now I'm going to back up and I'm going to show you the process of cutting through and the mess that it makes, and yeah, we'll see if you can see. Now I've already cut through some of this with the chainsaw attachment, so I'll cut through some more and then I'll route it and stick in the wire and show you how I do that. Actually, I'm going to put you on the other side because I'm going to be cutting into the camera that way. Alright, here we go. So, something I haven't run into before is that the bucks typically don't have any webbing right where I'm cutting through them. Typically the webbing is above or beneath, but it seems like on every cut I'm hitting the webbing that kind of holds it together, which means I'm going to have to probably pass through it with this bit a little slower and cut through the plastic, which this will probably just heat up and melt it because it doesn't cut all that great. So it does cut through it, but like I was thinking, it just has to build up heat before it cuts through the webbing that's behind it. So anyways, you can see the kind of mess it makes. Then all you have to do, and this is just a piece that I've got, let me see. Then I use a shim to shove this kind of into place. So I just want about 10 inches or so sticking out of where my box is going to go. So like I said, I've just got this little chunk to show you. But I want my wire to stay straight and feed into the hole. So once I've got it straight, then I just push it back using the back of the shim. And it'll recess this wire in about 2 inches is what I have it set at. And so once I've got about 12 inches or so sticking out, which, like I said, this is just a short piece, I can pop out the so that's how it's going to be fit into here. It's a pretty easy process, but it's messy. With this little drill bit, and then this blade on here, cutting through all the strapping is actually a pretty quick process. I'll take you over to another place where I've already done it. So over here, this is what I was talking about. They've already got the channel up at 24 inches. So in this, you can kind of see right here, there's this line at 24 inches, which means I don't have to mark anything. I just follow that line going all the way across and feed down to my boxes. And then, like I said, about 12 inches sticking out, and I just come back and I stick my boxes on fairly easily, but all this wiring gets popped into place, and yeah, but those are the tools that I'm using to route it out. When I get to a corner, like right here, I've got a lot of plastic to go through. I use the oscillating saw and a drill bit, and then I'll just put a metal plate over it once I have the wire in place to make sure that nobody hits it with a screw. So these are Fox blocks, and that's how we're running our wiring.